Well, good afternoon and welcome to our weekly webinar. Today we have a little bit of a joint venture between PayEntry and Novello, which is one of our new partners at PayEntry. I want to welcome you to this session and let you know that there is a copy of the handout of this presentation in your handout box today. At the end of this session, we will be answering your questions. So if you do have one going through, type it into the questions box and one of us will answer it as we end the presentation. I'm going to introduce you to myself, Kathy Graham. I think I've met many of you. I'm the head of HR services at PayEntry, and today I wanted to introduce you to Ellie Polanco. She is the CEO of Novello, one of our new partners, and you'll learn more about what they do today. So to get started today, I'm going to talk to you about 5 important issues to consider when paying your employees. Things you need to be careful of or look out for. The first one is, do you have your employees classified correctly? You know, we nag about should they be exempt or non-exempt? And remember that the job title is not important. It's the job duties that count. And the reason that you should care about this in 2022 is the fact that the Department of Labor audits are on an all-time high and the penalties are increasing for misclassification of an employee. That also relates back to independent contractors too. So if you have people you're classifying as independent contractors, you need to make sure that that's really the case because the Department of Labor is on a proactive stance right now with these audits. They're very expensive too if you're found to be in noncompliance. Back pay for the individuals, overtime pay that they should have gotten, employee benefits like your health plan, and penalties on top of that. So it's a very, very expensive um, um, error if you make it, and we want to make sure that you're paying attention, close attention to that. The second is, are your payroll deductions legal in your state? Now, we all know that we follow the federal rules, but nowadays the state rules are changing so quickly, and we need to pay attention to things like, can you deduct for equipment, uniforms, any property damage? Those are governed by state laws, and also many states require written consent to any deductions other than those that are mandated, like the taxes that come out of a check. Also, make sure that any deductions when you're going through your payroll don't result in a pay rate that's lower than the minimum wage because that's not allowable under federal law. So you have to balance the state laws and the federal laws when you're looking at what kind of deductions you take from your employee's paycheck. Um, in most states, you must have something in writing that's signed by the employee that has a specific amount on it. So, and remember, it's not where you are, it's where the employee works. We're all more remote than we used to be. So if you have employees that work in other states from home, you need to look what the state laws are there. The third one is, are you paying overtime correctly? We have a whole webinar on this, and we have several webinars coming up in January and February that will go over these things again, the basics of payroll and HR service, HR in the work environment. But Department of Labor laws require that when you're paying overtime, applying that 1.5 times, you need to apply it to what they call a regular rate of pay. And the regular rate of pay, it includes the base pay plus any commissions or non-discretionary bonuses or commissions that the person is earning. And this is another area that is highly audited lately. So if you're not doing that right now, you can't just say this person makes $10 an hour and multiply that times 1.5. Did they have any other pay that came into consideration during their pay this year that would be considered as part of their compensation? Overtime rules do vary by state also. So where the employee works determines the rules that you need to apply. That's why being in human resources and payroll is harder now because of all of the remote employees. You have to use the laws in that state in order to know whether it is over 8 hours a day, over 40 hours a week, over 12 hours a day. It's different in every state. Another question that comes up all the time, are you paying your terminated employees according to state laws? Depending on state laws, and that's where the employee works, if you terminated the employee, pay may be due on the day you let them go, not on the next payday. California has that law. Many other states have that law. Massachusetts has that law. So some states also now require that you pay out vacation and sick leave accrual, even if your handbook says that you don't do it. Colorado is one of those states. California is one of those states. So you have to look at the state law when it comes to the timing of paying someone and whether or not you have to pay out their vacation and sick. Remember, too, that you can never hold an employee's last check until they turn in equipment. That is against the Department of Labor regulations. You have to pay them when they would normally be paid, or in some cases on the day that you're terminating them. And deductions from final pay are also limited on what the state laws say, and they're different in every state. Most of the time in California, you can't deduct anything from final pay. Um, and because we know California is a different breed, there are other states, though, that limit what you can take out of a person's final pay. You can't hold it and you can't limit it. I mean, you can't have deductions in there that the employee normally hasn't agreed to in writing. So just pay attention to that because a lot of terminated employees are already mad. And if they're mad and they go to the Department of Labor, you could have a claim on your hands or an audit. And then finally, are you still using checks to pay your employees? If you are, you need to consider these things. Checks offer more risk to you as the employer. If you're mailing them, they get lost in the mail, or they get lost in the on the drive home. The employee loses it in the truck. Um, you can also have checks that this time of the year are delayed because of inclement weather. And what's the employee supposed to do if they're depending on that check to make their mortgage payment? It also provides a picture of your checking information for fraud purposes. So if you're looking at a check, you can make a copy of it, and there are lots of software packages out there now that will help people make checks that look just like yours. So if I were you, I would consider going in a direct deposit direction or using the pay entry pay card. Now, there are some states that say you can't mandate direct deposit, but they're very far and few between. And if you want to email me, I will look up the states that you're in and we can decide that. It just makes things easier for you. We also have a pay entry debit card that you can load their um, their weekly pay or their biweekly pay onto, and it's good to go. So just consider those things to create a higher level of security in your um, payment of employees. I'm going to turn this over now to Ellie. And let's see, Ellie, I'm going to make you the presenter.
Okay.
And I will, let's see here.
Let's see.
And are you choose an organizer and leave? Um, well,
Uh, are you able to see my
I've
screen now,
got it.
Kathy? I wanted to talk about, which is really the direct deposit. For a lot of the reasons that Kathy mentioned, direct deposit has become the most popular method to pay employees by far. And it is the safest way to pay employees. But to make sure we round out the discussion, we wanted to make sure everyone here understood in what situations would a direct deposit not arrive on time, when you feel you've done everything right, you feel like you're paying the right amount to your worker, why would a direct deposit fail, and what you can do in those situations. It's a timely conversation because a lot of these situations happen around holidays for reasons that I would explain. So it's a perfect time to take pause and think about your own employees and making sure that you're protected. Um, to help set the stage, I just wanted to highlight what to the worker direct deposit is, right? Most workers are in biweekly paychecks, which is why I've shown the situation where the pay period is a couple of weeks. An employee is getting paid on a Friday. So from a direct deposit perspective, their check day when you submit payroll will be Friday. And if direct deposit works as it should, they will be paid by 8 a.m. that morning. That is the happy path. Now, what needs to happen uh, for that to occur in its happy path? The first thing is the banks that process the direct deposit need 24 hours to process it. Uh, Direct deposits are processed in the automated clearinghouse, which is the way that banks communicate to each other to manage their ledgers and clearing and settlement. So if you want an employee paid Friday at 8 a.m., from a technology perspective, US banks need to initiate that instruction on Thursday. Now, this is payroll. So, who is paying those workers is the business. And so, what needs to happen for that Thursday payment to come out and have nice 24 hours to settle is another 24 hours for the business, let's call it Acme Co., fund the payment. That is what's called the debit day. Those are the two most important days in payroll processing from the perspective of will my workers be paid on time? This is why when you work with pay entry, you most likely have a Wednesday to Friday payroll run. You need to submit your payroll on Wednesday in order to ensure that your workers get paid on Friday. That is happening because of the processing times and the settlement times that banks are asking for. And as Kathy said, employees need to get paid. It's not their concern how long it takes a bank to process their payment. They are due to get paid Friday at 8 a.m. So it is your job to ensure that Wednesday, when you submit payroll, well, first you submit payroll on time, and that you look out for certain items that may cause delay in the direct deposit. Because at the end of the day, if they don't see that cash on Friday, they're the ones that are not going to be able to pay their mortgage or bills, and we don't want that. Um, the reason I mention the holidays specifically, and these are situations that happen throughout the year, but specifically during the holiday, what are some of the most common reasons that direct deposits fail when everything else seems to be working fine? Submission happened on Wednesday. Um, uh, Pay entry received all the right information, that the right files have been set up. So what are the three most common issues that we're seeing that are causing those delays? The first is um, when your bank is sending money to the Federal Reserve so that your workers can get paid, the balance isn't there. And you might wonder, why is the balance not there? I should have enough balance in my account. Uh, but if your, say, largest account, your largest client is even one day, 12 hours late sending in that revenue, that receivable, your worker may not get paid because the money will not be there by the time that the worker needs to attain it. The other element, you might have an operating bank account that is set up for your typical payment obligations of labor. However, There are times of the year, times in your business where you might have atypical payment amounts. This might be because it's bonus season. This might be because it's, you have a seasonal workers to take into account. But for whatever reason, you may have set up your treasury to always be funded for 50,000 every month if that's what you usually spend. But say end of Christmas, you have bonus season, everyone is paid double, you might need 100K, but your treasury hasn't sort of be reconfigured, and so the balance isn't there. And the other thing is bank holidays. There are bank holiday interruptions, which might add to the number of hours needed, the number of days needed to submit your payroll earlier. These are all situations that happen very often. And if you're not monitoring your bank account closely and monitoring the amount in your payroll bill, you might run into. Um, One of the things that we wanted to highlight today is how do you use the tools made available to you by Payentry to avoid those direct deposit delays and protect your employees from any non-arrival, non-settlement by Friday at 8 a.m. Uh, the way that you would sort of work with this protection layer would be to work with Payentry, which you guys are already doing. And when you submit payroll, you would submit payroll as usual. Payentry, through a technology partnership that we will mention, is able to confirm whether your treasury balance in your account is enough or not to meet the current payroll obligation. If it's not, there is an alert that will be received by the HR administrator of the account of your business. It basically mentions, let's say it's Wednesday, you need to pay your workers on Friday, you've submitted payroll, you think all is well. When you check your email a few minutes later, you see this notice that mentions, look, one of those situations is happening. You may want to check and ensure that the balance is there. Otherwise, it's very likely your employees will not be paid on Friday. The other element that you can do here, if you click on the link of the email that you will receive, you will go to this page, which basically gives you the rundown of how that alert came to be. You will see the pre-process register estimate of your payroll. You will see the latest same-day balance of your account, and you will see whatever shortfall there is. And that the first thing that's important here is awareness. Awareness so that you can fix the funding item in time to pay your workers. One of the things that Payentry has done is connected directly with lenders that have pre-approved business owners within the ecosystem, so that if you need, a solution may be, hey, I'm going to call that large account, ask them to wire the funds. That way I will have my funds by end of day today, and and Payentry will be able to process my payroll without issues. And we have an option here for you to click that and let Payentry know that a wire will be set in and your workers are protected. Or if you are short in cash because that receivable hasn't come in, or there's a larger than expected amount in your payroll, you have this instant liquidity option that you can take advantage of. And basically, it would allow you to receive liquidity that same day, and enable you to receive a wire from one of the connected payroll financing lenders, giving a 1 week, 2 week, 3 week, or 4 week short term loan. And that's it. Once you select that, your payroll would be protected, you would be confirmed funded, and your workers will be happy because they will be paid at 8 a.m. This service that you're seeing is opt-in. It's free of charge to enroll, but you need to tell your client advocate that you are interested. You can either email or call your client advocate, or you can enroll directly by going into our website, novella.io, and sending us an email from there, letting us know that you are an MPay employer. To enroll, you need to conduct a process that takes about a day. And we ask that you do it at least, 1 week before you run payroll. You only need to enroll once, and that would ensure you have continual coverage under this umbrella. Uh, you would receive an email once you tell your client advocate that you are interested that would allow you to enroll. In this enrollment, you would confirm business information that will be matched, will need to be provided to payday lenders in the future. This is why this is captured here. And the most important thing, you would need to connect your account that funds payroll. What does connecting mean? It means using our secure portal to identify the bank that you use to fund your payroll and log in to that bank using that secure portal. And for context here, both MPay, PayEntry, Novello are all fully InfoSec compliant companies that take the utmost care of your data. And the other element, so without running a hard credit check, all employers of PayEntry are immediately approved for $15,000 simply by enrolling. Again, there is no cost to enrolling. If you there is an option to get approved for a line of credit up to 500,000 for those large approvals. We would direct you to set up a 15-minute meeting with the lender that is underwriting the ecosystem. When now you're running payroll and you need to select the loan, if you are taking advantage of that loan, note that there is an interest rate charge of 1.5% for every week that you take out this loan. The idea here is not that you're taking out a bond or a 1-year loan. The idea is if you have a couple of shortfall windows, this is such a great immediate way to ensure that your workers get paid. So there is a 1.5% interest rate charge plus a $100 fee that only come into play if you select the loan. And that will be billed to you directly by the lender, who will send you the contract details as soon as you complete the enrollment. But that's really it. So we wanted to talk about why paying your employees on time is important. Obviously, everyone here understands why, but the HR sort of context around that. We wanted to highlight how even in the best of cases, because of the timing issues of direct deposit, there are certain atypical emergencies that you need to take into account. And then we also wanted to let you know that there is this service available for those emergencies. If you are short on cash, if you want to enable these alerting and monitoring emails to ensure that there is no overdraft or NSF, even if those shortfalls occur, and to ensure that your employees get paid on time. That's really it for the main portion of the presentation, but Kathy and I wanted to take a pause and take in questions if there are any.
Yeah, it doesn't look like we have any questions in the question box. It's because you did such a great job, Ellie, on this. If anyone does have any questions afterwards, you can email me and I will make sure that you get to the correct person. And maybe I can answer some of the questions on the front end of that where the state that you're in has different laws, and you may want to know what those are. So please reach out to me, and I will make sure that you get. I think we had a different screen on the other slide presentation that showed some contact information, but it is in the
I,
handout. There we go.
yes, and
If
I know you have
yeah,
Kathy's contact information, and she's the great contact here. I've added this just in case you wanted to reach out
sure.
directly to me as well. Kathy, go ahead.
No, that's okay. I was going to say that in the handout in on your
Perfect.
screen, there's a handout that has this information on it also. So reach out to Ellie or me, and we'll be happy to give you more information on any part of this webinar. But thanks for attending today, and I hope you have a great afternoon. See you next week.
Thank you.